And welcome to tonight's amazing Zoom session. Tonight was very, very well planned. I see we've already hit the maximum. We've hit 1,000 people on the Zoom. So in the next session, we need to prepare for 2,000.
Yes.
Welcome to everybody. It's so great to see everybody live and ready to learn about this amazing revolution. Tonight is all about something very exciting, Bitcoin Vault. We're going to be discussing everything to do with Bitcoin Vault. Firstly, I'd like to appreciate and thank the leadership of this amazing team, Olivia and Lucky Mashamba. Thank you so much for having me come and speak to your team. And so much for always making sure that when I do come, it's always so well planned out and everything is so well arranged. And everybody's ready to just listen. I'm always so encouraged whenever I think about coming to share something with this team. I'm always so encouraged to dig in even deeper, to give the team so much more because of so much reception that I receive here. So thank you to all of you that have shared the video of me on CakeNet. Thank you so much for sharing the video. And thank you so much for receiving me so well. It's highly, highly appreciated. Let's begin. So today's session, we're talking about Bitcoin Vault, but I cannot just begin without first congratulating Olivia and Lucky Mashamba on the amazing mansion that I saw the pictures of, which I believe they bought from the profits from Bitcoin Vault. So congratulations. If we could all just maybe unmute ourselves and just congratulate them for a quick second.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You need to go and see it. You need to go on Facebook and follow Olivia so you can see it. But congratulations. So wonderful to see so many amazing things. I often tell people that it is time, or it brightens your heart when you see Black people living those lives, because other young Black children can now dream. They can now see these people do this thing and say, one day I also want to be involved with blockchain technology. I also want to be involved with Bitcoin Vault. I also want to be involved with Bitcoin mining, because they're able to see somebody do it so well. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, Olivia is actually a chartered accountant. And to see her having left that and doing this is so amazing and encouraging to generations to come. So congratulations. And we wish you even more. I want to see the private jet. I want to be the first person you take around in the private jet. And I believe that it's already on its way. So let's begin our session on Bitcoin Vault today. So Bitcoin Vault, what are we talking about? So many people know my journey, and I'm going to summarize because, I want us to get to the gist of things. I'm going to summarize. So many people know my journey. They know me as the author of Mr. Bitcoin. I wrote the book, How I Made $1 Million at the Age of 21 Through Bitcoin, And I've had so many people walk up to me and say, I wish I knew Bitcoin at the time that you knew Bitcoin. Some people would walk up to me and say, if only I knew about Bitcoin sooner, when you knew about Bitcoin, if only I knew about Bitcoin at that time, Some people would walk up to me and say, you know what, I regret not knowing about Bitcoin before. Somebody would walk up to me and say, I heard about Bitcoin, but I was doubtful and I didn't invest at the time, And they'd walk up to me and say, I wish that I was like you. At a time where Bitcoin was very cheap, Bitcoin was around 1,000 Rand each. I had over 200 Bitcoins, just lying there in my wallet. So many people would walk up to me and say, I wish I was you at that time, And they'd say, I wish I could reverse time and go back to that opportunity. For those of you that don't know my story, of which I believe many people in the Zoom know my story, I was fortunate enough to invest in cryptocurrencies from a very young age. I made over R1 million from my Bitcoin investments. And from there on, I've then went on to write a book and continue speaking about the cryptocurrency and blockchain space that we have today. And whenever I meet people, people keep on saying, I wish I could have started. I wish I could have been you. And when we look at patterns of how rich people become very rich in the world, we notice one very important thing, that rich people become rich by investing their money in where the world is moving towards. That's how rich people become rich. They become rich by investing their money in where the world is moving towards. Very, very important. That's the first point I want you to take note of. The rich people become rich by investing where the world is moving towards. Now, I want to give you a very practical example. Over this week, we all saw the video that was trending on social media. I also posted it, but I believe Facebook took it down for some reason. In that video, there was a doctor in America who was saying that to cure corona or to fix corona, you need hydrochloroquine as well as zinc, as well as something else, The moment a very wealthy billionaire saw that video, he picked up the phone and called me and said, Mpho, where can we get zinc? I said, what do you mean, where can we get zinc? He said, I'm looking for zinc. I want to buy zinc in many quantities. I said, why? He said, because in that video that it's trending and everybody's believing in it, that woman said that you need hydroxychloroquine, you also need zinc, and you need the third thing. I forgot what she said. And he said, I'm looking for zinc because that's going to be the next thing that people are going to be looking for. And, you know, I got off that call and I wasn't very surprised by that call, because that's how the rich investor thinks. The rich investor is always thinking ahead of the crowd to say, what is the next big thing and how do I get involved with it now before everybody gets involved, you know? I then obviously got off the call with him, etc. And I'm yet to follow up on him on how far is he in finding zinc. But his mission is to go and look for zinc because he knows that that's the next thing that people will be looking for. You know, when people catch corona, if zinc and chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine is working, that's what they'll be looking for. So he knows that if he buys it, everybody will be looking for it, will be in high demand, and he'll become rich like that. And that's how rich people become rich. They spot an opportunity early, they get in, they run with that opportunity, and they make sure that as they are doing so, they're doing so with the utmost conviction that they've got. You know, when that man called me to ask about zinc, he wasn't saying, I'm thinking about zinc. He wasn't saying, I'm considering zinc. He was saying, where do we get zinc? He was so convicted that this is what people are going to be needing. And this is the important thing about becoming wealthy, that rich people always jump on. And when they jump on big. They don't jump on small, they jump on big. And that's how they make their money. Very, very important. Now, when we look at today's society and we look at where the world is going, we are all aware that the world is going digital. You know, before I joined the Presidential Commission on the Fourth Industrial Revolution, we had a very big headache in the Presidential Commission to say, how do we convince these municipalities that the world is moving digital? How do we convince these provinces, these premiers, that, you know, they need to start doing things in a digital way? We no longer need to convince anyone, because through coronavirus, everyone has seen that indeed the world has moved digital. There's no one that still needs to be convinced. There's no one that still needs to be called and told about this. Everybody is now aware that the world has moved to the digital space. You know, before we used to argue with people. People would say, no, we're never going to go digital. Digital things will never work out. Today, we don't even need to argue with anyone. Today, we just say the world is going digital, and everybody quickly says, yes, I agree. How do I jump on board? Or how do I get involved? And this is what today is about. Today is about us identifying opportunities and jumping on board so that we actually make money. I always say to people that one of the things that I don't like about Black culture is that in Black culture, we don't speak enough about money. We don't speak enough about money. If you realize the first television station to invite me to speak about Bitcoin Vault or to invite me to speak about Mining City is an Afrikaans television station. It's owned by Afrikaans people. The people who own that television station are also the same people who own Luno. So it's Afrikaans people that are jumping onto this. And, you know, I said to somebody, I said, I hope SABC won't take time to call me to come and speak about this, because the Afrikaans people be the first ones that are jumping on. If you notice, if you watch that video in the beginning of it, it's an Afrikaans person introducing me, you know. But they are the ones that are always ready to position themselves to say, where do we invest? Where do we take our money first? You know, when Bitcoin first started, one of the first bank CEOs that sat me down and said, what is this thing? The CEO of Investec. Now, if you know anything about Investec, you understand that Investec is a very selective bank. Not anyone can invest with Investec or bank with Investec. You have to make a certain amount of money before Investec can include you into the banking offering. But it was them that quickly said, we want to jump in early on this opportunity. And, you know, it likens me to faith, because when we read stories of the Bible, we always realize that the people that became the greatest were the people that took the leap of faith and jumped into the opportunity. What opportunity do we have today that allows us to grow and continue growing at a phenomenal rate? Now, before I get to the opportunity, I want to speak about the company that's offering this opportunity. Somebody asked me another day, they said to me, do you trust this company? Have you done your research on this company? And I said to them that the company that we're speaking about, called Mining City, is a company that I've done thorough research with. One of the first things that struck me about Mining City, of which it's hosted by MindBest, is that Mining City has got a contract with the government of Kazakhstan to provide them with power. Now, it's not every institution that has a contract with a government to provide them with power. And that was the first, and something that struck me to say, wow, for the first time, I'm hearing about a company that has an agreement with a country to provide them with electricity. And that's not the only thing that I heard about. I then went on to hear about the founders of this company called Mindbest. One of the founders being Ayal, who's an actual inventor. He's invented a whole lot of different, amazing different inventions. And I said, this is the part where one needs to pay attention. Because when we look at where the world is going today, when we look at the richest people today, we realize that these are people that have actually invented or created something. They've actually invented or created something. So this was then that CEO of that company that I realized that, wow, this is quite different. Not only that, I then went on to discover that this company is actually registered in different institutions in different places. That when it comes to blockchain conferences all around the world, one of them being the blockchain conference here in South Africa that we visited, Olivia was also there together with the team. Mindbest was actually there and acknowledged there in that conference. That they've actually received awards for their mining facilities. That actually outside of China, they hold the biggest mining facilities in the world. It then drew my attention to say, this company means business. This company actually means something. To say that in sales in its first year, this company has actually raised $1 billion in sales in its first year. I then paid attention to say, wow, this sounds like something of the makings of a Facebook. It sounds like something of the making of an Amazon, because every tick, every box that you set out has been ticked by this company. It then drew my attention to say, I need to look more into this company. I then had the opportunity of meeting the CEOs, of meeting both the founder of Mining City as well as Mindbest, understanding the vision, understanding the accountability measures, understanding the security factors that they've put in. You must understand this, and this is very, very important. When it comes to security, there's no better system than Mindbest in Mining City. They are the ones that they are the most invested when it comes to securing your investment. And once I'd done my research and I was very comfortable, I then said, this is a company that one can stand behind and put everything behind this company. Why? Because I'd done the actual research. Not just research or through the internet, actual research, making sure that everything actually exists, that the mining facilities are well taken care of, that the people that they are hiring are actually above board, that the procedures of working are actually above board, that every single step in the company actually makes sense. And that's the first thing I wanted to just clear out, because I've heard a few people ask me this question to say, can we trust this? You know, can we put a lot of money? Somebody once said to me, they said, can we start by testing the waters and putting in a little bit of money? And I said to them, there is no testing in the waters because we've already done the testing of the waters. We've already secured and finalized that this is the company that we ought to be going with. Now, what is this opportunity? I want to go back to Bitcoin. You know, when I made my money with Bitcoin, after making my money with Bitcoin, I had huge problems. One of the problems that I had was that, well, it was a good problem, but one of the problems that I had was that I became somewhat of an authority in the space because there was no professor of Bitcoin. So the professors would be calling me to say, Mpho, please come and explain this Bitcoin thing to me. You know, people who are writing books would say, Mpho, do you want to contribute to my book about blockchain? I recently contributed in a book that's being published by the Vice Chancellor of UJ. I recently had to contribute onto that book. And in that book, we've got amazing other deans and vice chancellors saying, please come and contribute. So I had this burden of becoming an expert and an authority in this new field. And as I became an expert and authority in Bitcoin, there were a few questions that people raised that I was unable to answer. One of the questions that they raised was, one, if I send my Bitcoin to somebody, and that person does not deliver the goods that I want them to deliver, can I reverse that transaction? And if you all know about Bitcoin, the answer is that you can't. So people would say to me, how then do we trust this system if I can't reverse this money? I'm uncomfortable. I don't want my business to deal with Bitcoin because I'm unable to reverse this money. If somebody steals my money, if somebody kidnaps me for a few hours and they transfer the Bitcoins, does this mean I can never get my Bitcoins back? And we'd say to them, it's true, you can't get them back. And they'd say, I'm uncomfortable. And I started to have a problem as a leader in this business to say, how do we fix this? You know, another problem people used to say to me is that if I'm a business and I'm doing many different transactions, can I have what we call an enterprise model where I can do stuff in the background? So for example, if you are doing business with a macro, for example, which is a big institution? How does macro make sure that they can manage all the transactions? Or for example, a game stores or a Pick and Pay or a ShopRite, how do they make sure that they can manage all the transactions? Because they don't want you to wait for your milk while you're saying, hold on, let the Bitcoins clear into your wallet. How do they make sure that they get an enterprise solution? That's what it's called. That they can run everything in their own back end. Can you do that with Bitcoin, Mpho? And I'd say, no, we can't do that with Bitcoin. And it became a huge problem for me to say, what can we do to solve these Bitcoin issues? Because remember, I was now at the forefront. I would be sitting in universities, institutions, and people would say, we love Bitcoin. We love everything about it. But answer these two questions for us. One, how do big companies get involved with this? Two, how do we make it more secure by being able to reverse the funds that have been sent through, but not only reverse the funds, also have a control as to knowing where they went or to who they went to? And these are the two things that I was unable to answer for the longest of time until today. Until the day where I found the solution of how to actually fix this. And this is the solution that I'm going to be discussing today. The solution to our problems. So if ever you've known about Bitcoin and you didn't know what the problems of Bitcoin were, these are the two biggest problems that Bitcoin faces. Number one, people say we cannot trust it because we can't reverse our money or we don't know where the money went to. Number two, people are saying, if I'm a big company, how do I manage all these transactions? This became and you can imagine as a leader in this industry, it became a big headache because people, whenever they've got questions, they want answers and they compare it to money. To say with money, you can't do it. Banks give you an enterprise solution. Banks can obviously reverse a transaction or know who the transaction went to so that you can continue going to that person with court, et cetera, to get your money back. But with Bitcoin, you can't do that. Up until today, that's when it all ended. Today, I finally found the solution to the very big problem. And we're going to be discussing and sharing that solution today on this live. Are you ready for that solution? If you're ready on this for that specific solution, I just want you to type in the chat box quickly. I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. I'm looking here in the chat box to see everybody type in the chat box. I'm ready. I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. I'm seeing people say they're ready. I'm seeing people, wow, 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 wow. Ndiwo says I'm ready. Nomvula says I'm ready. Bulelani says I'm ready. Vuledzani says I'm ready. Christopher says I'm ready. Portia says I'm ready. Wow, we're seeing lots of people type I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. So what became the solution to this very big problem? What became the solution? What is it that we need to do to fix Bitcoin that that we can quickly help it scale or become better than it already is? What could be done to Bitcoin to make it? I'm seeing so many people say, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. This is excellent, this is excellent. What is the solution? What becomes of the solution? And Olivia, I just want you to help me. I'm trying to just share my screen.
Okay.
If you can just make me, I think you just make me the host.
Let me make you host, okay?
Yeah, then I'll be able to share the big solution that everybody's waiting for. I'm seeing more and more people type, I'm ready.
You're not the host.
Thank you. Let's see here. Right. I'm not seeing it. All right. We're just having a bit of a. Am I the host, Olivia? I don't think I'm the host.
You are. Like I can see now. If you look on the participants list, I've made you host.
All right. Ah, there we go.
Yes.
There we go. There we go. There we go. I'm now ready. Let me share my screen with everybody. Are we all ready? There we go. The solution came as Bitcoin Vault. So the solution to the world's problems, the solution that people had with Bitcoin, the frustrations that people had with Bitcoin, the concerns that people had, the solution came as Bitcoin Vault. And Bitcoin Vault was invented by the same guy from Mindbest, AL, who then said, I'm going to create the solution. And this is why it's so important that when you invest in an entrepreneur that is actually an inventor. You know, before this, Eyal had invented many different things like a cell phone, self-driving car. You know, he had invented many different inventions. You know, it was his passion to become an inventor, to become somebody who creates stuff. And he then decided to create Bitcoin Vault. Now, remember, what were our two problems that we had with Bitcoin? What were the two main problems that we had with Bitcoin? And obviously, just to introduce Bitcoin Vault, I'm just going to quickly go through this. The first thing is that it's secure. It's got an enhanced anti-theft solution providing safety for your funds. So what does this mean? The problem that people were having, and we all know this, you know, I'd always see a headline on the news saying Bitcoin stolen from somebody's wallet. And people would call me and say, Mpho, why are people stealing Bitcoin? So you'd see a headline saying a child kidnapped and thieves want Bitcoin. And people would call me and, you know, I'd have this headache of explaining to people that no, Bitcoin is not bad. People are using it for the wrong reasons, etc. But now through the solution, there's an enhanced anti-theft solution. So now we no longer have those worries of people calling us and saying, somebody stole my Bitcoin, somebody hacked me. We now have a solution to that problem. The second thing is quite simple, of which Bitcoin itself is simple. Number three, it's also flexible. You can decide whether you want to transfer it fast or an ultra secure way of payment. You know, you now get to choose how do you want to transfer your Bitcoin. For example, if you're buying gold, when you buy packs of gold, it's not a fast thing that you can just transfer to somebody quickly. No, you need to get into the vault. You need to see the gold. You need to test the quality of the gold. So you now have a better way, a more secure way of transferring your Bitcoin vault when you do purchases like that. It's not such a quick thing where somebody can do something to you and then there all of a sudden you've lost your money. But I want us to look at something very specific. And this is Eyal, the founder that I was speaking about. He says, we aimed to answer a need in the crypto community for a coin that delivers superior security features as being safe and transparent. Remember, he's solving the problems that Bitcoin didn't have. So here we have today a solution or a better thing than what Bitcoin has offered us. And what we know about how technology moves, we understand that human beings always gravitate towards better things. They always want better things that work better, things that make them feel better, things that enhance the user experience. He says a Bitcoin Vault is a fair play, provides an element of choice to the user between ultra security and speed. I want you to look at the specific offering here. Number one, let's start with the middle one, which is the most important. You are protected from theft. So if you're in this business, if you've been in this business, you know for a fact that we've always had theft issues. You know, somebody's Bitcoin account has been hacked and this and that. This time you're protected from theft. Why? Every transaction is alerted on the chain for 144 blocks and can be canceled in an emergency with a recovery key within 24 hours. So for the first time ever, we've all got a recovery key within 24 hours. We never had this with Bitcoin before. So now we have something that people can now use in a better way. You know, there's something that somebody was alerting to or that they explained to me the other day. And I love the explanation that they gave me. They said that in this day and age where we live, there's so much theft going on because people are becoming more and more desperate. You know, even with me on Facebook, for example, Facebook had to recently verify me on Facebook because I had so many different accounts that were coming up saying this is Mpho Dagada that are not true. You know, so now if you look on Facebook, my account specifically has a tick next to it. So you know, okay, this is the real Mpho Dagada and not just any other person. So if you were following any account without a blue tick, please do unfollow it. It is not me. And for those that have received funny messages asking for somebody who wants to give you money for trading or whatever the case is, it is not me. I do not take anybody's money for any of those sort of things. So always make sure on Facebook you're speaking to the person with a blue tick if we are friends on Facebook. But let's continue. Not only are we protected from theft, we also have the enterprise solution. Remember what I said to you, that big companies were saying, how do we plug into these systems? We as Amazon, we as Facebook, how do we plug into these systems? We now have an enterprise solution. High security payments with multi-sig transactions. Example, treasury departments may conduct transactions where a CEO may confirm from a different device. So what does this mean? As we all know, in Dubai, they've got a minister of blockchain. So the minister of blockchain in Dubai can plug into this very simply and confirm these payments from a government perspective. What this means is that now people can pay their water and lights using Bitcoin Vault. You know, people can put in better systems into Bitcoin Vault. People can pay their tickets. People can pay for movies. People can pay within this enterprise solution. So it allows for different apps to plug in. What does this mean? It means that we now have an even more advanced Bitcoin. Now, if you remember very, very well, the reason why we all joined Bitcoin is because we wanted a better way of doing transactions, a more technological way. Now we have an even more advanced way. We have an even better way. It's only about, and hear me well, it's only about time. As more and more people realize about Bitcoin Vault, more and more people will take their money from Bitcoin and move it towards Bitcoin Vault. Why? Because people always gravitate toward better solutions. You can never stop it. People always gravitate towards better solutions. You know, when Uber first started all around the world, there were different taxi associations, even in South Africa, even in London. There are taxi associations saying that people will never gravitate towards this because this is very unstructured. You know, any driver just comes on board, etc., etc. But what did we see around the world? We saw people gravitate towards it. Why? Because it proved to be a better solution. It proved to make people's lives more convenient. It proved to allow people to plug and play from different places. Think about it properly. The reason Uber, the reason Facebook, the reason Amazon, the reason Airbnb became very, very big in a very short space of time is because they had a solution for enterprises, for companies to come on board and plug in and play. Here we have Bitcoin Vault giving that solution to big companies to come in and play. And there's a little secret that I want to tell you about today. And this secret is the secret that's going to make all the difference. It's going to make all the difference. But let's continue. We have here long-term storer of value. You know, somebody once said to me the other day, they said to me, Mpho, when I invest, I'm investing for my children. And I said to them, why? And they said to me, well, I've lived my life, you know. And this is when I was saying to them, they were asking me, they were saying, Mpho, when you invest, what is it that you look forward to? And I said to me, when I invest, I'm a holiday person. If you look at me, I mean, yeah, cars are great, but I don't really drive myself. Wherever I go, I'm usually driven. So I never really get to experience the car. So I'll never really say I'm more of a car person. So I'm not really about a car person. I'm more about a traveling person. Put me in first class and let's go to the Bahamas. Let's go to Hawaii. Let's go to New York, one of my favorite cities in the world. Put me there and let's travel. That's one thing that I love to do. You know, when it comes to travel, I don't even look at the budget. I'll say, even if the flight is 200,000, I'll pay it because I understand that that's what gives me joy. That's what makes me happy, you know? So even when I was explaining to them and I said, even for traveling, they said to me, no, I'm not interested in traveling. I'm interested in investing for my children. And I said to them, wow, maybe when I get to that age, I'll become like that and I'll think of that. But at the moment, when I do think about having fun, etc., for me, it's different, you know. But they said to me, for them, having fun is investing for their children. Now with Bitcoin Vault, you have that solution. Long-term storer of value. An ultimate electronic store of value. A better form of gold with the aim of holding one's life savings with complete peace of mind. For the first time ever, we have a cryptocurrency that allows you to put your lifetime saving and have peace of mind. Be guaranteed that no hacker, no nothing, no changing of system will ever take that money away. You can store this for life and even prepare it for your children's children, for generations to come. You know, the Bible says a wise man invests or makes enough money for their children's children. So if you're Christian and you're on this session, if you're not making money for your children's children, you are not a wise man. You need to be making money for your children's children. It's not me. I learned this from the Bible. It says a wise man inherits or makes money or invests for their children's children. So I've always asked myself, that means that if you're not making money for your children's children, that means you are not. I'll allow you to finish that sentence. But this is the beauty of it, that one can, I mean, when I read this, when I was doing research on this, I love this because I've had so many old people say to me, can I invest my lifetime saving into this thing? Can I put in enough money and know that nothing will happen to it? Let's read that line again so we all have it. An ultimate electronic store of value, a better form of gold with the aim of holding one's life savings with complete peace of mind. Not even half peace of mind, complete peace of mind. Can you imagine? Now let's go to something that's very, very exciting. These are some of the exchanges that you can find Bitcoin. And by the way, this information is not a secret. You can all find it. It's all available on the Bitcoin Vault website. I believe they'll type it. If you can just get some leaders just to type it there in the chat box, you can all look at it there. I also want you to look at something very special. I want you to look at the roadmap. Where are we today? Let's look at the roadmap, right? In the fourth quarter in 2019, it was the launch of Bitcoin Vault. Obviously, not a lot of people knew about this because when you launch something and you're doing it big, you need to test it, make sure it works, make sure people have tried and tested it, make sure hackers have tried to hack it. You need to do it properly. So it was actually launched in 2019, but nobody really knew about it. In the first quarter of 2020, a wallet integration was available on Google Play, Windows, and Linux. This is when people were then able to store it on a wallet. They were then able to store it on their own digital wallets that exist. In quarter 2 of 2020, that was when Bitcoin Vault was launched on various exchanges. Now, when Bitcoin was launched, what happened when it was launched? A lot of people don't know this. Bitcoin was launched in 2008. That's when it came out. But it only boomed around 2013, 2012, 2014. That's when it only boomed. Why? People were still researching it. The idea was still new. Some were uncomfortable. Some were not very happy about certain things. What do we know about something that launches and from the beginning, its trajectory has been upward only? That's Bitcoin Vault. From the time it has launched till date, it's been going up higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. I almost said, I made a joke the other day. I said, from now on, I don't want to be called Mr. Bitcoin. I want to be called Mr. Bitcoin Vault. Because Bitcoin Vault continues to be going higher and higher and higher. And it's a much better solution that we have. So it was only launched in the second quarter of 2020. I want to show you the graph of where Bitcoin Vault has been going. And where do we get this graph? If you want to have a look, it's at www.coinmarketcap.com. CoinMarketCap. I made sure a lot of people, whenever you show them slides, they always say, where can I get those slides? Where did you get those slides? I said, today I'm not going to prepare slides. I'm actually going to show people so that they can do this themselves. Because I know many of you guys are building this business and you're going to be showing more people this opportunity. So I wanted to show you the raw information of where I get this information. CoinMarketCap.com. If you look at it here at the bottom, we have a graph that shows us what's been going on with Bitcoin Vault. We're going to be looking at the green line only, which represents the price. Look at the green line. Look at the green line. Look at where it's been going throughout this whole time. It's been only going up, only going up. The more people know about it, the more people want to invest in it. I mean, you would expect something to launch and have a little bit of a dip, or to have something going bad. It's the beginning stages. People are still not. From the day it launched into the public till date, it's only known up. It's only been going up. And that's the beauty of it. Why? Because the more people hear about it, the more people say, yes, this makes sense. Yes, we've been waiting for this solution. So many people have been waiting for Bitcoin to become safer. So many people. People have been saying, I want to store Bitcoin I want to store my life savings into Bitcoin, but I'm afraid because I've read articles about it being hacked. I've read this. I'm waiting for something that's going to be like Bitcoin, but safer. It's arrived. The moment people hear about it, they're in. The moment anyone hears about Bitcoin Vault, they're in. I was saying to somebody, I said, the worst thing you can do about today is not tell somebody about Bitcoin Vault. Because the way that it is performing has shocked and amazed. During coronavirus, when everything is crashing, when stockbrokers who invest in the JSE, who invest pension funds are complaining, saying we're losing people's money, we don't know what we're going to do, Bitcoin Vault has been soaring higher and higher and higher and higher. Let's go back to something that I find very, very exciting. And I'm just going to be managing our time here so that we don't go over time. So where are we in terms of Bitcoin Vault? We are only in the beginning. We are only in the beginning. Do you know, let me tell you a little secret. When Bitcoin was first started, there was a gentleman called Roger Ver and a few other gentlemen that went on to America to post billboards about Bitcoin. They bought advertising space on television. They told people about Bitcoin. You know, they used to call Roger Ver the Bitcoin evangelist. He would go all over telling people about Bitcoin. He would be announcing to people about Bitcoin. This is how Bitcoin works. Get involved, etc., etc. Here's a little secret about Bitcoin Vault. Bitcoin Vault has not implemented its marketing strategy just yet. That marketing strategy is only going to be implemented at the end of 2020. That's when the world will know about Bitcoin Vault. That's when the marketing will, and we all know once you market a product, what happens? People buy into it. So right now, we're in the early stages of Bitcoin Vault. We're in the beginning stages. Remember, when Bitcoin started being marketed and people started knowing more about it, that's when the price started increasing. I mean, today we haven't heard any journalists call us and say, can we discuss Bitcoin Vault? It hasn't even gotten out there towards the people. What's going to happen? It's going to get to a point where Bitcoin got to, where people know about it, where articles are written about it, where people speak about it. You know, and when it does get to that point, you need to have secured as many of them as you possibly can secure. Hear me very well. A lot of people say their biggest regret is ever selling Bitcoin when they first had it in the beginning. Don't let that be your regret with Bitcoin Vault. Make sure that you've stored, make sure that you're mining, make sure that you're creating as many of them as possible. Because there will come a time when it will launch and the whole world will know about it. And when that time comes, I'm telling you now, the price of it will go higher and higher and higher. And it's testament. Even those that have started already, they can tell you that they've benefited so immensely from it. You know, in the third quarter of it, we're going to see additional key integrations into it. We're going to see more parties come involved, and we're going to even see more companies mine Bitcoin. It's not only going to be mining, we're going to see other companies come up and mine Bitcoin. But when that happens, you need to make sure that you've collected as many Bitcoins as possible. Why? Because the price is going to boom. Now, one person asked me the question to say, when Bitcoin Vault was launched, how much was it launched at? Like anything else in the world, everything starts at zero and it continues going up. So at some point, it was at zero. Where is it today? It's now at $435. People always say to me, Bitcoin is far too high. If it's at 190,000 or 180,000, it's too high. And I say to them, even if it was still low, you still would not buy. So why are you complaining? Right now is the best time for you to get involved because it's still at infancy stage. It's still at beginning stage. It hasn't even gotten to its peak. It's not even a year old. It's still a baby. Yet it's grown to this high level. You know, I was looking at it the other day when I looked at CoinMarketCap and I saw what is the return on investment. So there's a term that is used in the investment world called ROI, which means return on investment. I was looking at it and I said, what is the return on investment on investing in Bitcoin Vault? It's currently sitting at 1,700%. That's your return on investment when you invest in Bitcoin Vaults. Let that sink in for a little bit. 1,700%. And this is the beauty and the opportunity that we have with us today. We get the opportunity to know about this at a very young age. We get the opportunity to know about this if you're a young person at a very early stage when it's starting. You know, I saw a picture the other day of that mining city posted on one of their social media pages of old Chinese women in Japan, you know, in Hong Kong, in Tokyo, holding up the mining city flag. And I said, these old people are getting involved in something that's going to allow them to gain enough money, even in their old age, which is very, very important because in today's world, so many things have crashed. People who invested their pensions into Cecil, you know, when the oil price crashed, they crashed. I was saying to somebody, I said to them the other day, I said to them, we who trust in property, I used to be one of those people that used to say, you can never go wrong in property. You know, until I invested in student accommodation. I'm quite big on student accommodation. I've got a lot of student accommodation that I've invested in. From the month of April up until today, I haven't received one rental from any student accommodation because all the students evacuated, they all went home and they're all not paying. So I'm sitting with student accommodation that's currently empty. So when the world is not making sense, when ways of making money that we know in the world are no longer making sense, we've got this opportunity that allows us to jump on that makes sense. That's making money all around the world. When government, somebody was saying the other day, they were saying that, you know, what's going on in the world right now is very scary because it's not only South Africa. Every single government in the world is going out there to loan more money to deal with coronavirus. They're going to seek for more money. You know, companies are closing down. People are being retrenched. People are losing their jobs. What's going out there in the world has become very scary. And I was sharing yesterday with a group of people that I'm mentoring. I was sharing yesterday and I was saying that whenever there is pain, always look for the potential. Wherever there's pain, always look for the potential. Because what I know about pain, what I've studied about pain, is that there's always potential in pain. Two people can be feeling the same type of pain. Two people could have lost their jobs during coronavirus. One will take advantage of the opportunity before them. The other will continue to feel the pain. And you know, society has taught us to become so good at listening to the pain, at feeling the pain, at voicing the pain, going onto social media every day and complaining that so many deaths have happened, so many people have lost their jobs, that we now feel the pain. We make songs about the pain. You know, we have meetings about the pain. We're discussing the pain. But a few people will be sitting back and planning and saying, what is the potential in this pain? How do I spot the potential? And today I've showed you the potential that's there. A friend of mine said to me, Mpho, what are you busy with these days? I said, I'm collecting as many Bitcoin vaults as possible. That's what I'm doing. From the moment I wake up till I go to bed at night, I'm collecting Bitcoin vaults. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. I'm canceling all other meetings, all other businesses. I've said, put them on stop, put them on hold. I know that this opportunity will not always be there. So for now, I'm collecting. I am becoming very, 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 very aggressive at collecting Bitcoin Vault. Why? Because I collected Bitcoins and I know where that placed me. It placed me 10 years ahead of my generation. It placed me so, you know, I always say the other day, I was telling somebody, I was saying that people my age are just people who have started working, you know, they've entered the workforce. They are now buying their first car, you know, they are posting their first car. And I always say to them that at the age of 21, I bought 16 cars. 16. I put 14 of them on Uber. The other ones, I decided, let me drive them. So when somebody says to me, you know, I've bought my first car, I say congratulations, but inside I know that for me, and this is why I say to people that cars cannot excite me because I've bought too many of them. Why? Because I took advantage of opportunity at the right time. I took advantage of Bitcoin at its beginning stages. I took advantage of it and I made sure to collect as many as possible. And I'm sharing this opportunity with you today. It won't always be like this. We won't always have this gap. Can you imagine when it's now mass marketed and marketed all over the world, what's going to happen? When we reach the end of the year and it's now being marketed all over, what's going to happen? So take advantage of this opportunity. Take advantage of it now. And this is how wealth is created. This is how wealth is created. You take advantage of it. You take action, immediate action. You don't wait for other things. You take immediate action. Somebody said to me the other day, they said to me, Mpho, I would expect that you're very comfortable because, you know, you have Bitcoins and you've done well with Bitcoin. I said to them, no, I cannot be very comfortable. I cannot be very comfortable when I'm seeing people make something out of Bitcoin Vault. I cannot, am I dumping my Bitcoin? No, I've still got my Bitcoin. You know, one of my accounts is still mining Bitcoin. But on the side, I'm also mining Bitcoin Vault. Why? Because I understand that value continues to change. Value continues to move. The best way to explain it to you is to say to you that in the early 2000s, the 1990s, early 2000s, when you are buying property, people would say to you, buy property in America, buy property in Australia. That's where property is very expensive. That's where you'll make a lot of money in your property. You know, if you're buying property there, if you're buying property in New York, you'll become very rich. If you buy property in Sandton, you'll become very rich, you know. Come around 2010, 2011, the trend moved completely. People said, don't buy property in America because the American property market has crashed completely. Buy property in Dubai. Now I ask you, what has happened? Were the investors who bought property in America supposed to stay in America and leave the money there in America, even though they could see that there was not fast enough growth in America? No, of course not. The biggest property groups then moved and said, you know what? Money's moved to Dubai. We're all going to build in Dubai. They built the biggest building. The tallest building in the world is in Dubai. Why? Because value moved there. That's how money continues to move. You spot an opportunity, you go in, you make the money. You spot an opportunity, you go in, you make the money. You spot an opportunity early, you go in, you make the money. That's how wealth is built. That's how nations have built money. And talking about Dubai, I was listening to the Crown Prince of Dubai. He was speaking something very interesting. And a lot of people usually say to me, where do you get your inspiration from? And I always say, you know, whenever I speak, I always want to share a bit about where I get my inspiration from. I was listening to the Crown Prince of Dubai. He's a bit like the mayor of Dubai or the head of Dubai, you know? And he was speaking and they were asking him, what are you planning? What's the next thing you're doing for Dubai, you know? And he said that what I've done is I've done my numbers. I've said that 100 people will move from Africa to Dubai. I've said that, 100 million people will move from Africa to Dubai. I've said that this many people will move from, and I was listening to him and I'm like, what does this man mean that will move from Africa to Dubai? What does he mean when he says 100 million people will leave Africa and come to Dubai? And guess what his plans are? He said, I'm building huge buildings for the people that will move from Africa to Dubai. I said, why are you doing this? He said, because we understand that we're positioning Dubai to be the best place in the world. When a South African child is dreaming, they want to dream of living in Dubai. Hence, when he's building those huge hotels, when he's building those resorts, he's building them for the people that are going to move from Africa and come to Dubai. And I thought, this is my level of thinking. This is how I should be thinking. I should be thinking for the next generation to say, how do I build this wealth for the next? This man is thinking like this. Imagine, this is the president or the mayor or whatever you want to call it. In there, they call it differently, of Dubai. He's thinking in that way. He's thinking for you and your children. He's building for you and your children. You know, and remember what he's thinking. He's thinking when they come to Dubai, they're going to rent. What is he getting? Rental income. How does he know that you move to Dubai? He's already got his stuff set in place, you know. And when I listened to this man, I was so inspired to say, this is a next level of thinking where you plan even for other children that have not been born yet. There is a wealthy man out there who's planning for your children. The best thing that you can do is to plan for your own children, to say, already he's got his plans in place. He's already building the building in Dubai. What are your plans? What are you planning for your children? How are you going to circumvent for those plans? When I heard his plans, I said, there's no way 100 million people are going to move from Africa. I'm going to build my own thing here as well. I'm not competing with him. The next move, I'm listening to him think. You know, when he was describing this, he wasn't even dramatic. He said, it's a numbers game, you know. You take 100 million people from Africa, you take this many people, and you build and they'll come. And I listened to him and I said, if this man is thinking like this, this is how I need to think. So I sit down and I watch those things. I sit down and I watch these things, and I watch very closely to see, how does greatness work? This man is building and people have not even arrived. People have not even arrived. Some of the children have not even been born. He's already got them thinking. He's already planning for them. He's thinking long term. And this is the type of thinking you need to start getting yourself into if you want to grow wealth. You know, Olivia positioned this very, she said this is a wealth seminar, that we're speaking about how do you grow wealth. It starts with your thinking. How are you thinking? You know, gone are the days where we think about making money for buying yourself a car. No, that's not enough. How do you plan for generations to come? How do you plan for those in the future? What are your thoughts about them? There are men out there that are planning for those things. You know, I was reading the other day about Elon Musk, who said that he envisions a world where everybody will be using solar power to power their vehicles, to power their houses. He's planning for the future. This is a man with a vision. And this is the driving force, ladies and gentlemen. Put a strong vision before you. Stop this thing of thinking, all I want to do is, you know, just pay off my bond and buy myself a X5 and pay off my school fees. That's small thinking. Think big. How do I influence so that even those that come after me, my children, they will know that I once lived? Can you imagine the son of the crown prince of Dubai? When he wakes up one day, he knows, when he wakes up, his father tells him, when he asks his dad, Dad, what are you doing? His dad says, I am building for the African children. Why? Because I know that in the vision that I have, and the vision is so big, it accommodates other people as well. Can you imagine how his son or daughter will start thinking when they grow up? They'll start saying, when my dad thinks, he thinks in terms of vision. He thinks in terms of many nations in one. That's the way that he thinks. He thinks in terms of nations. He doesn't think in terms of, and if you look at the numbers of people that are migrating to Dubai, the numbers are shocking. So many people are moving there. Why? There is a man who is thinking on their behalf. He's decided for them that this is where they'll stay. This is what they'll do for entertainment. This is where they'll spend their money. And as he does this, what's going on? He's becoming richer and richer and richer and richer. Why? It's his thinking. It is thinking. So as we do this, as we invest as Black people, you know, as young people, if they're young people on the Zoom, we are expanding our thinking. We are opening up our faculties. We are no longer just thinking about buying a car to spin in. I always say that young people that think about just cars, you know, there's nothing wrong with liking cars. There's nothing wrong with it. Buy the car. I mean, one of my first car, when I got my first million, I bought a Golf 7. You know, because that's what every young person wanted. You know, there's nothing wrong with doing that. But don't stop there. Don't stop there. Think bigger. How do you influence the world? How do you take this thing to the next level? I was telling somebody the other day, I said that, you know, it doesn't make me very happy whenever I see young African children sort of begging, you know. It's like after university, you become a beggar for a job. You know, everywhere you are begging, hey, please employ me, hey, please. I said, this thing doesn't make me happy. Because when we look around the world, that's not what the rest of them are doing. When the young people come out of university, they are thinking big. They're creating things that even you will be using. The same platform we're using is something that someone has created for us to use. So as we think about wealth, that's how we think. We think bigger. We think even a bigger level. How do I take this thing to the next level? You know, I was saying to somebody, I said, I can't wait to see one young person from Olivia's team saying to Olivia, Olivia, how much are you making? I want to make this amount that you're making. With boldness. Asking her, how do we do it? You know, when Olivia says that we've got a Zoom meeting, we've got a training, you are there in the training, you're learning. I released a video about mentorship this week. The fastest way for you to go up is to get a mentor. It's the fastest way. It's the fastest way. In this business, if you don't have a mentor, you won't be able to make it. Making sure that you're listening to your mentors, taking heed, asking them, how are they doing it? Because they are always so sharing. They are always so sharing. You know, whenever Olivia invites me to these sessions, I always think she has you in mind, the team members of a team, in mind to say, I want my team members to hear from the best. I want them to hear. Yesterday, she attended my Zoom meeting with my team, and as she was listening, she said, I'm here to listen so that I can go out there and give to my team as well, learn even more. And what type of leadership do you have that's there, that's always making sure that you are ready and you know from the best? So take this opportunity that's lying before you. Take it with both hands and run with it. And if you're not running with it, please note that I am running with it as fast as I can. As fast as I can. I'm not stopping for it. I'm running with it as fast as I possibly can. Because I understand the opportunity that we've got is time sensitive. That this opportunity that we have on hand is very time sensitive. We've gone over time, but that's what I wanted to share with everybody today. So go back to the person who invited you to this session and ask them, how do I get involved? How do I get started? And let's invest for the future and become very wealthy as Africans, as Black people, as young people, as women in this country. Let's become very wealthy. Let's build this wealth together.